Hi everyone. So I'm back. Today I wanted to talk about boundaries, and it's something I'm talking a lot about in one of the classes I'm teaching here. It's one of the psychology classes I'm teaching at Southwestern College, but it's been coming up a lot from my clients recently too. And I would say that most of us fail to realize the importance of boundaries and what a benefit they can be to our lives. And boundaries, when we hear that word, we kind of freak out and go like, oh my God, no. Putting up a boundary means there's going to be conflict or drama or turmoil. I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. It's going to be awful. But the truth is, boundaries are actually what protects our relationship. Boundaries keep relationships healthy and intact. Boundaries are what protect us from feeling resentful in relationship. It's when we don't have boundaries and we're enmeshed with somebody that our energy gets depleted, we get taken advantage of. And that's what the miserable experience is. Putting boundaries up is actually much easier than having no boundaries and being walked on all the time, or even having walls, because there's a couple different types of boundaries. And that is, we've got walls, that's a type of boundary. We've got no boundary, where there's just nothing between you and another person. And there's a combination of both, where we have walls at times and we have no boundaries at other times. And then there's healthy boundaries, where we can have connection with people and still be okay inside, still be whole, or we're not giving ourselves away to another person to either feel love or feel a sense of self-worth, or to feel safe in some way. As little kids, sometimes we don't get to have our healthy boundaries. We're in a different position as little kids because we're relying on caretakers to take care of us and meet our basic needs. And we sometimes just don't get to have proper boundaries. The good news is, as we grow up and become adults, we can create the boundaries we need for ourselves. As an adult, you have the ability to look after yourself, take care of yourself, protect yourself. And so you can now go ahead and create boundaries for yourself that are really beneficial for you, that really help you feel good inside, taken care of inside, and feel whole. One of the way my teacher describes boundaries, which I love, is that boundaries are the distance you need between you and someone else in order to stay in your loving of them. So if you think about somebody in your life, how much distance do you need with that person? How much space do you need in order to stay in your loving, right? Because really the goal here is to be in our loving. And sometimes that takes some distance or separation to be in loving. There could even be circumstances where, in order to feel any kind of love for a person, you have to have no contact. You cannot talk to them, see them. That might be the most loving thing you could do for them. Because then what you're radiating out of your energy field is love and not resentment or hate. Right? When our boundaries are not appropriate or they're not right, we end up giving too much of ourselves away oftentimes. And that makes us hate a person or resent them or feel angry at them. So isn't it far more loving to think about creating a healthy boundary that can keep you energetically in alignment with yourself and with love for them? So I just invite you to ponder that in your relationships right now. We tend to judge ourselves for putting up a boundary or wanting a boundary, but boundaries are what protects a relationship. It's what keeps a relationship alive. If I was in a relationship and I had my boundaries being constantly violated, I would grow to be resentful of that person. And my psyche would kick in and ultimately try and get that person out of my life in order to protect me, right? But instead, if I could institute boundaries that were really helpful, with a person, such as, I really can't talk about this subject with you because it really drains me and really creates a sense of heaviness inside me for a few days after. In order to really enjoy our relationship or our friendship, I need to just stay away from this certain topic or not do this certain thing with you. You can see how that would actually be more beneficial for that relationship than to just sit there silently, do something you don't want to do, and end up hating that person or resenting them, right? So boundaries are kind of the secret ingredient here to having the kind of relationships you want. They really are. So if you ever feel fear around boundaries, like, oh gosh, I don't want to go there. It's going to be too scary. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. No, you're hurting your relationship if you don't have boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries, you're going to end up resentful, angry, critical, okay? Have contempt for these people in your life. You're going to want to psychically push them away. When you have boundaries, you know you're safe and that you can be in relationship with people and have connection and still stay safe. And that is what creates loving, fulfilling, wonderful relationships. So it's a really important topic. I might talk more about it because it's so useful and we don't really talk about it all that much in this culture. And if we do, there's this element of fear around boundaries, like, oh no, I'm going to piss people off. You might initially, when you put up a boundary when there has been no boundary, you might upset some people, but you'll ultimately be so much healthier and your relationships will too as a result. So I hope that's helpful. I'm really passionate about this topic, as you can probably tell. And yeah, I can look at your life and think about what's working for me boundary-wise, what's not working. How could I love this person more? What would I need to love this person more? So food for thought. Anyways, loving you, and yeah, enjoy. This is fun work. Boundaries are so fun when we actually start implementing them. It can transform a life. So lots of love to you. Bye.